welcome to MetalNet. I'm very excited today to have a special guest, Sierra Levesque. Hi, Sierra. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey. So I wanted to tell you that part of the reason I started MetalNet is because I have this like secret fear that metal is just going to go away. You know, so many of the legends are passing on, and I don't feel like as many new artists are up and coming. But after meeting you, I feel a little bit differently. So we're going to talk about you, what you're doing, and what you're planning on doing in the future today. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on and restoring my faith about the future of metal.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, yes, I'm very, very excited to be here.
Oh, that's great. So my first question is, how old are you?
I'm 15 years
And,
old.
and how old were you when you started playing music?
I was around 7 when I started taking lessons, but whenever I started first singing, I was around 3.
So was this just something that you were doing naturally?
Yes, I first started around the time when I was 3. We were driving in the car to go somewhere, and Avril Lavigne came on the radio, and it was Innocence by Avril Lavigne. And being little Sierra, I just started singing, and my family was a little bit confused. They didn't know that I knew all the words to the song already, so they kept that in their minds. And as I grew older, I started having a bit more interest in music, especially Avril Lavigne. And around the age of 4, I started going into musicals in my local town. I was in Willy Wonka. I was a little squirrel, and then I was in Aladdin and Little Mermaid. And so that's where I sort of started really getting into music, is around the age of 3 and 4.
That's amazing. And it seems that your parents were very supportive and that they really saw something in you and that they were willing to take the time to bring you all these places.
Yes, they're very supportive. I actually have my dad and my stepmom and then my mom. So I have 3 amazing parents who always are willing to take me anywhere for lessons or performances, and I'm very lucky to have them.
You are very lucky, but you know, it strikes me that you are very motivated and that you have been since you were very young.
Yes, I've definitely always had a drive, and I find that anytime there's something that I really want to get better at or that I want to learn, I always stick to it until I can do my best at it. So I've been like that ever since I was young.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, I do wonder, are your parents or any of your parents musical themselves?
No, none of them play music, but they all really love music, but not musicians themselves.
That's so funny because when I met you, I thought, you know what, this girl, I bet she comes from a lineage of musicians. But this is even more impressive to me that it really came from you and your love and your passion for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely the one who plays, but my dad especially is a very big metal hard rock fan, so that's where I was definitely inspired from.
That's amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I know you as a singer, a guitarist, and a songwriter, but I know that you actually play more instruments than that. So, what other instruments do you play?
Yes, so on top of those, I also play bass, drums, and piano, which is
And
very fun.
which yes, super. Which ones do you lean? Do you lean a little bit more towards some of them than others?
It honestly goes in phases. Sometimes I'm really wanting to play the piano a lot, but right now is a guitar phase, so right now I'm always picking up the guitar. So it usually switches between guitar, piano most
That's
of the time.
awesome. That's awesome. So, remind me, which was the first instrument, aside from singing and showing your family that you had an ear for lyrics and singing? What was the first instrument you seriously started to study, and how old did you say it was when you were 7?
Yeah, it's when I was 7 and I first started taking piano lessons, so that's the first instrument that I began to learn was, yes, piano.
Okay. And then how long after you started piano did you pick up the other instruments?
So I was doing piano until, well, sorry, I've been doing piano since I was 7, and then I was around the age of 10 when I first started learning drums. So that was very fun. And then I was 12 when I picked up the guitar and started learning it, and 13 when I started learning bass.
That's awesome. Right. And you're 15 now, so you've been playing some of these instruments for quite a few years.
Yes, yes, it's been so fun.
All right. So I want to go back to what we were talking about, how your dad is a metalhead. So I imagine that you heard a lot of music through him. Is that how you got into metal, or did you also hear it elsewhere? Because I'm thinking you're a younger person, and I know a lot of I don't know a lot of people your age, but I know several people your age, and they don't quite know about rock music. It's not really part of their world, and it's not on their radar. So was it really just your dad's influence as a metal fan, or or did you hear it elsewhere as
I
well?
would say that yes, it definitely started with my dad. Ever since I was little, ever since I can remember really going anywhere in the car, I would not because it was boring, but I would always fall asleep to Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, Dio, Bon Jovi, just every hard rock metal band pretty much you could think of. We always listened to Hair Nation on Sirius XM, so I grew up on that. Everything. So yes, I would say it's basically mainly my dad's influence is what really got me into it growing up.
That's awesome. And then did you steal any of your dad's like CDs or albums like when you were little once you started listening to that music?
Not too much. I mainly just grew up listening to it in the car, so we
Mhm.
didn't listen too much to CDs or vinyl or anything like that. I really wish we did now because now I have so much more of an appreciation for it. But back then, no, I would really just mainly listen to everything in the car.
All right, got you. Got you.
Yeah.
So, and you also listen to other music. I know, I mean, obviously hard rock, metal. What are some of your other influences and music styles that you like?
Well, I really like some pop artists. Like I really like Miley Cyrus. I really like Avril Lavigne, who is pop rock. A lot of stuff like that. I grew up also really liking Taylor Swift. I would always sing her songs. But it's really mainly been rock and metal. Pop is definitely an influence in there, but mainly rock and metal.
So who are some of your metal bands that you love?
Well, I really love Ghost. I'm currently obsessed with Ghost. I just bought their signature Hagstrom guitar because I'm giving in to my obsession. I feel a little bit bad about it, but I am really obsessed with Ghost right now, and I also really love Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Kiss, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, a lot of those kinds of bands. Yes.
So, you have been studying music very seriously, not just in taking lessons, but I know for a fact that you take rock and roll fantasy camp master classes because that's where I met you. And you also studied at Berklee College of Music's summer program. So, talk to me a little bit about the Berklee program. You've actually done it several times. How old were you when you started going to those?
I was 12 when I first went to my Berklee program. It was the Younger Musicians Week program, so you would pick an instrument and then they would put you with other musicians and you would make a band, and at the end of the week you perform a few songs together. So I was first 12 when I went to do that, and that time we performed Hotel California by the Eagles and Ain't It Fun by Paramore. So that was a very fun performance that time, my first one. Then I did another one of that same type of camp the same year. So those were amazing. And then the next year, I went back and did a music production camp, stage performance, and vocal summit camp, which were all very great. And I really love Berklee. I'm hoping that next year or the year after, I'll get to do possibly their 5 week camp, which would be very fun. But yes, Berklee has been amazing, and I've learned so much every time I've gone there. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
I hope you have the opportunity to do that too. And I think part of it is just COVID
Yeah.
in a place where it'll be safe. I think I had mentioned to you that my cousin did the 5 week program,
Yes.
and it was just such a cool experience for him, and it was really wonderful for me to go be able to see him perform, at Berklee. So I'm excited for you to do that. I'm sure it's on your list, and I'm sure you'll get it done.
Yes, I really hope so. And it's my goal one day to hopefully go to Berklee for college. So that's why I've been really doing as much as I can with them to try and get prepared and hopefully to immerse myself into it even more.
It's wonderful. So you still have a few years to go before college, but do you have an idea of what you want to focus on? You know, at Berklee or wherever you end up going.
Yes, I think if I went to Berklee, I would either want to focus on songwriting or music business because I've been taking a lot of online courses during quarantine, during COVID, and I took both a songwriting and a music business course, and I'm currently doing a music marketing course online with Berklee, and I really was interested in both of those. So I think it would be a hard choice trying to decide, but I think they have some type of program where it's dual credit, so you can do two different ones. So I think that might be something that I would look into is doing music business and songwriting.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, it would definitely give you a rounded experience because you're definitely, I just know from meeting you through the master classes as well as just seeing, all that you've done, that you're really, you've done a lot of classes for like guitar, bass, drums, and all that. So I want to talk a little bit about that now. You had the opportunity to take a master class with one of my favorite people, and she was the very first guest on MetalNet, Britt Lightning. So I want to hear your thoughts on that masterclass. Like, what were you thinking going in? What were your goals? And like, What was your experience like?
Well, that one was really fun. Britt is so nice. She's very kind to me at every master class. I really appreciate everything that she always says about me. And she's, again, yes, very nice. So I was really looking forward to that one specifically. And I really wanted to ask about how to incorporate rock into guitar riffs because she was definitely one of my biggest guitar inspirations. So for that class, I was really just looking to get some insight on how to incorporate rock and more of a modern touch when writing riffs. So that one was definitely fun for me. But yes, Britt Lightning is amazing, and I really am appreciative to her.
One of my favorite people in the world.
Yes.
I adore her. I didn't get to study with her, but if she does it again, I'm going just because.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really recommend it. She's awesome.
Yeah. So another one that you get to study with, who I also have not had a chance to yet, is Orianthi. What was your goal for that one? Because I know, just for anybody who hasn't taken a master class, usually everybody gets to ask like a question. So I feel like that really sets you up to like, what's the most important thing I can ask, Orianthi or Britt or whoever you go with. So what was your question for Orianthi?
Well, for Orianthi, I really just wanted to ask her about career advice because I even said to her if there's anyone's career who I would love to have something similar to, it would be her. So I asked her, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to me for going into the industry? And she gave me some great advice about always following my dreams and staying true to myself. So I really appreciated that. And yeah, for that one, I was just really looking to see what advice she would give to me since I look up to her so much.
That's amazing. So who else have you studied with at the master classes?
I've had the chance to study with a lot of amazing people at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp master classes. I'm so happy about it. I've got to do a vocal master class with Kip Winger. That was a really good one. Sebastian Bach was amazing as well. Alice Cooper was very exciting. I was a bit nervous for that one. That one was great. The Scorpions were amazing too. They were very nice. Roger Daltrey also gave me some amazing advice. On all of them, I really like asking for advice just because I like seeing, based on the different careers that they've all had, what they would all say to me. So usually that's one of the main questions that I ask. But yes, I've got the chance to ask so many amazing people among the ones that I named. But yes.
Yeah, you and I share that in common because that's pretty much the last question I ask everybody I have on, because it is so different from person to person. Some people would say, like Rudy Sarzo is like, I can't, I'm not one to give advice, although he's probably got more to give than, anybody out there. But most people, it's a variation of like, follow your dream, or, be professional, be nice to people, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that you asked that, because that's, to me, that would be the thing that I really most wanted to know. People. And you also, I think you studied with Lita Ford as well.
Yes, I did one with her as well. That was very great. I love that. And as well, that one was a little one that I was a bit nervous for, but it was so awesome. And I've just really been excited over COVID to get the chance to talk to all these people, because not even a year ago, they seemed like they were so far away from where I was. And now having the chance to talk to them and face to face, it really shows me about how down to earth they are, how they're just normal people like everyone else. And it's really given me inspiration to keep following my dreams to try to hopefully perform with them one day.
Yes, that's a great goal. So I want to talk to you about your songwriting, because that's actually that's how I really know you and how I got introduced to you. So I met you through the Desmond Child songwriting, and as I think I was one of the people that like hangs in the back and watches the songwriters, which was a wonderful experience, and I learned a lot. One of my favorite songs was yours.
Thank you.
And tell me the title of your song that
The
you.
title of my song that I sent in for that class was New Generation.
New Generation. So I'm going to read a couple little things that really got me excited. The song's called New Generation. Rock and roll won't ever go away. And you have promises of a new generation. There's one other thing about heavy metal, not only being for boys. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I was really excited about this song because you didn't just come in with a rock song. It was like an anthem for the next generation of like, I'm just letting you know that this is happening and I'm leading the charge. The song was amazing. I loved the way it sounded. It reminded me almost like, it didn't sound like Joan Jett, but it had that like raw energy and that like get everybody to follow behind me like a Joan Jett song. I was wondering, what were your musical influences when you were writing that song, or were there any? Did you just go in writing it, or did you have something in mind?
When I was first writing this song, I really was not listening to many other people to find inspiration for it, but once I got deeper into it and planned it out a bit more, I started listening to a lot of Twisted Sister and Joan Jett, which is funny that you mentioned that. Yes, Joan Jett, Twisted Sister, the big sound of the crowd singing behind someone. That was my main inspiration for that song. I was trying to get the sound of like a lot of people singing it, sort of like a stadium anthem or something like that. So yes, Joan Jett and Twisted Sister were big inspirations for that song. It was great. And also a little bit of The Pretty Reckless. I was listening to them a bit too to try and get a bit of inspiration for that.
That's fantastic because I did get that feeling. Like I instantly liked it because it was a good song, but to me it just felt like an I love rock and roll type of thing where like, it's like a simple but clear message. It was powerful and I could totally see like a whole venue of people like wanting to sing along. So mission accomplished, I think. What was it like working with Desmond? I mean, because you guys all put yourself out there and he had feedback, really honest feedback for everybody, supportive but honest. So what was it like for you when you were like ready for him to tell you what he thought of your song?
Well, I was really excited. I was looking forward to that class all the way up until the day of it. I was really, really excited for it just because of all the amazing people who he's written for and all the amazing songs that he's written. I was really, really excited. So I was just ready to hear what he was going to say about it. And whenever he gave me the feedback, I really appreciated it. And I've already started tweaking it a bit based on what he said. So I think it's really going to make the song even better than what it was before. So it was amazing to get the chance to hear what he had to say about it.
That's great. Yeah, I really liked it as you presented it that night, but I can imagine that probably in the weeks that have passed since that have you been focusing on that one song, or have you also been working on some other songs that you've got going?
I'm currently working on trying to record another song that I've been writing, but that one's been one of the main focuses just to try and tweak it based on Desmond's critique, just because I think that it will really take it to the next level based on what he said. So I've been trying to do that as much as I can.
That's fantastic. So a little bit more about your songwriting. You do write regularly. What are your songwriting habits? How often do you do it? And are you more of the person that waits for inspiration, or are you more the disciplined person that says, I write, every day, every week, whatever, and do you approach it that way?
I would say it honestly changes. During the summer, while I was taking my online songwriting course, I was writing a new song almost every week because of the course and what we had to do for it. And that really got me into that routine of just sitting down to write and forcing myself to do that, which was great. And then other times of the year, I say it fluctuates where I'm working on a project, and then if I get inspiration, I'll start writing another song. But I really try to finish all my projects, so I don't like to have a lot of things on the go. I would rather finish one and then move on to the next one. So usually right now, at least, it's more whenever I have inspiration. But other than that, whenever I'm just doing random things and I don't have anything on the go, it's usually a structured, disciplined thing where I force myself to write once a week or even something every day, just a little part of it. But yeah, so I would say it really changes based on what I'm doing during that time.
Okay. And are you focusing on like heavy rock and metal songs, or are you writing for all of the genres that you enjoy listening to?
I would say that honestly it's a lot of genres, but my main focus, the genre I love writing the most is heavy metal, hard rock, stuff like that. But I do write a lot of pop rock songs with pop influences in them, but the one that I really force myself to write the most and that I love writing the most is rock.
Oh, that's great. So when I sort of met you in class, and technically I know I didn't meet you till afterwards, but when I saw you in class, I definitely got the sense that my impression was that you were sort of a lead singer who writes your own songs, and I kind of imagined you as like an Orianthi or a Joan, and like you're the front person, and you have a band. Am I correct in that assessment, or is your goal to be in a band and or write for other people?
Well, I really do like writing for other people. I would say that depends on the type of song, because if I write a song that's more pop driven, I would really like to give that to someone else rather than performing it myself, because I would love to be rock. But right now my goal is to hopefully be, yes, like the lead singer, or right now I'm pretty much just a one woman act, but yes, my goal right now is to be basically the lead or have a backing band, something like that, something along those lines, rather than being a part of a different type of band. So yes, you're completely correct in saying that. Yes.
Great. So I wonder how a younger person like yourself, because I know for a fact you're taking so many classes, you're writing all the time, you're performing when you can, and you're always doing videos on your Instagram and that. How do you balance like being in school with having a musical career?
Well, I would say that it's two different lives almost. While I'm at school, I'm a little bit more shy, a little bit quiet. I don't really like to be the center of the spotlight in any way at all at school, really. And then when I go home, I'm usually working on something to do with music. And my friends, they know a bit about what I do at home, but not too much. So I kind of try to keep the two lives separate a bit. It's almost like a alter ego when I get home and do music. But I do try and balance it as well as I can. I try to spend time with friends once every week or once every 2 weeks sometimes after school, but not very regularly. It's mostly music has taken up a lot of my life, but in a good way because that's what I love. So I would say that I try to keep the two lives a bit separate, but I do also try to make sure that I balance it.
Is I imagine that would be harder though now that and I don't know if you're going to school or if you're doing online school, but how is for I think for everybody it's hard separating like work from school. You know, like there's I've seen that commercial. I've done this where you sit on this part of the sofa at work and then like work day's over and you move over a cushion. Is that like that for you for school and home, or do you physically have a separation? Like are you going to school or do you have like a different room that you study in?
Well, right now we are going to school. We started going to school back in September. We're doing the mask thing and everything like that, but we still are going to school. We're not doing online. There was an option, but mainly we're going back to school. So, yes, it really is separate. I go to school and then I come home and it's music time, go to school and it's school time. So, yeah, it's mostly separate.
Okay, and you're up in Canada.
Yeah.
So I because I didn't mention that to anybody watching, but you're in Canada, so you guys might be in a different place with COVID than we are. But I was just thinking, I'm trying to like imagine you trying to do your schoolwork in your guitar room, and I'm thinking like you probably wouldn't get much done.
Yes, that's true. I usually when I am doing any homework or anything like that, I go up into my normal room and anything music related I do down here. But yes, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I'm in a small town, so the numbers for COVID aren't too bad, which allows us to go back to school, but I'm very lucky to be able to do that right now. But yeah, whenever I'm at home and doing stuff, usually this is the music room.
I would be tempted to just be in there all the time if I were you.
I have to force myself to leave sometimes.
So another thing that really impressed me about you is how organized and professional you are. You had mentioned that you've taken some classes at Berkeley and that you always ask, for career advice from musicians. When did you start sort of understanding that side of things, that it's not just about being a front person and playing or even practicing, but that it's about like social media, just organizing, interviews and everything like that? When did you start to really take that on?
I would say that really 2020 has been the year that I've really been doing most of that in because in 2019 I was focused a lot on performing and writing songs and recording. I was performing almost twice a week in my small town and there's not too many restaurants here, so it was a lot of performances in the same places all the time, which was very fun. But this year I've been really trying to focus on social media and while taking my online Berkeley courses for music business and music marketing, it's really taught me about all the other sides of the music industry, which has really kind of compelled me to want to focus on those a bit more right now while I have the time. So I'd say 2020 is the year where I've been focused on social media, marketing myself, really trying to form my brand, stuff like that. I would say that this year I've been really focused on that.
It's great. So, what are your musical plans for the future, the not so distant future? What are your hopes? Performing albums? What are you thinking?
Well, I really hope sooner than later to be recording a debut album or EP based on, I would probably call it New Generation. I think that's what I would really hope. So I think it'll be probably around 8 tracks, 8 songs, not 8 tracks, sorry.
Mhm.
And currently in my music marketing course, we're making a marketing plan for ourselves. So I'm using that to try and use it in real life. So my plan is hopefully next year sometime I'll be doing some type of recording and hopefully getting it out onto all the digital service providers, stuff like that. So that's really my main goal for next year is to try and record a debut album.
That's wonderful. And I imagine because the title is New Generation and that song is so amazing that that is likely to be one of the songs on the album.
Yes, that would definitely be one of them. Yes, that
Uh,
would be one of them.
yeah, and I know you have plenty of time to change your mind, but do you have any other songs that you've already written that you are feeling pretty strong about being on that album?
Yes, I have about four or five other ones. I would say they're pretty much almost all done. They're just sitting right now, which I don't really like to do because if COVID wasn't happening, I'd probably be starting to record them right now. But after COVID, since I already have them ready, I would say that most of the other songs that would be on the album are ready. So yes, and they all have that classic rock influences classic rock influence mixed with modern lyrics about issues that we all face today in them. So they're all kind of along that line of the new generation of rock.
So the lyrics that I heard were like the anthem, you know, the stadium anthem type of thing.
Mhm.
What are some of the other topics that you care about that you are focusing on lyrically?
A topic that I really like to write about is feeling like an outsider or feeling like no one hears you or understands you or you're just kind of pushed off to the side. I really like writing about that because I know that a lot of people feel that at any time in their lives and I feel like people can relate to that. So a lot of my other songs are about feeling like you're a bit misunderstood and trying to tell people who may feel like that they're not alone.
That's really wonderful. So we have an album to look forward to in the future, more performances, I imagine, especially once the album comes out. Lots
Yes.
of social media.
Yes.
Where can people find you social media wise or website or anything else that you have?
On YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. It's all under the same username, and it is my name. So Sierra Levesque Music, and it's all one word. And Levesque is a little bit of an odd spelling, but it's Levesque. So Sierra Levesque Music as one word on any social media platform.
That's fantastic. And I will list it in the box below so
Great.
that we can
Thank you.
find all the, and it'll also be on MetalNet, which is
Thank you very much.
metal.com. So you have big plans for the future. And I do wonder, I know that you're a younger person and you're starting your career, but I'm truly impressed by your drive, how professional you are, how good your songs are. And so for another person who's maybe around your age, who's really interested, but they don't feel like maybe they don't feel like they could do this, or maybe they don't have the support of their family, you know, they don't have like that backing of people going, yeah, you know, you're pretty good, you could do this. Do you have any advice that you could offer for somebody that wants to do this but for some reason has a little bit of a block?
I would definitely just say to keep practicing as much as you can because one day, even if you don't have any support right now, if you practice and prove that you work as hard as you can, then someone will believe in you. Someone, somewhere down the line, if you can prove that you're the hardest worker of anyone that you know, will believe in you. So I would just say to work hard and to keep practicing and to really decide what you want to be rather than having other people try and tell you what they want you to be. I would say to do that.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on, and I wish you the best of luck, although I really don't think you need it.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.